How's it going, guys? Aaron here from ImpactKC Worship. Today we're going to be going over the lead guitar parts for the song I Raise a Hallelujah by Jonathan and Melissa Helser through Bethel Music. Let's get into it. Alright, so let's go over this first verse part. All we're going to be doing is going back and forth between a C sharp major and a C sharp sus chord. So the way we're going to finger that is like this. So third, we have our C sharp, and then we have our E sharp, or an F. That's our third there. And then we're going to go up to our sus with our third finger. And what we're going to do is walk it back and forth. So to the sus. I'm just kind of hammering that on. And I literally just go back and forth between those two chords the whole entire intro verse. So let's talk about our first chorus. So our chords are going to be a 4, which is F sharp major, to a C sharp major, which is the 1, to a minor 6, which is A sharp minor, to a major 5, which is a G sharp major. Now the way we're going to finger that is going to be up on the higher part of the neck. So our first chord is going to be this, which is our 4, but we're going to add a major 7 in there. So we have 11th fret 3rd string, 14th fret 2nd string, and 13th fret on the 1st string. Then we're going to move to basically a 1 chord with an add 9. So we have 13th, 14th, and 11th fret. Minor 6th, we're going to move up to 15, 14, and 13. Then we're going to move back to this chord, which we were just at, which is for our 5, but we're technically doing a 5 sus there. And then we do it again, so we have, then we minor, back to the shape, and then I'm going to take this sus note, which is right here, the suspension, and I'm going to drop it down to that 13th fret, and then I'm going to go to our 1 chord, which is going to look like a D shape, but we're going to build it all the way up here above the 12th fret. And that's our first chorus. All right, moving on to verse 2. If you're playing rhythm, you can do exactly what you did on the first verse. Chuck in those chords, right? One thing that I like to do is add a little bit of an intro going into the downbeat of the one chord. And what I'm doing here is basically playing a C sharp sus down to the regular C sharp major chord. The way you're going to finger that major chord is like this, which is just like a normal C chord, like this, but we're moving it up one fret. So I'm basically having to bar that first fret right there. That's our C sharp major. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the suspension note, which is right here on the 4th fret of the 4th string. So I'm going to hit that C sharp note right there, hit the suspension, then I'm going to hit the triad of the major chord. So in tempo, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. And I'm basically outlining that every time I go to the 1 chord. And then when I go to the 5 chord in that chorus, or in that verse, I'm going to go to my G sharp major up here. So it looks like an F chord, but I'm hitting a 5 right there. Now if you notice, the progression changes slightly for the second verse, because we're not just hanging on the 1 to the 1 sus. We're actually going to a 1, to our 4, to our minor 6, and then to a 5. Now, hanging on that 1, chucking the chords for the rhythm still works with that progression, but if you were doing more of chord shapes, you would want to outline those chords correctly. All right? So now let's continue on to our next chorus. Now for our second chorus, you can do exactly what we did in our first chorus, outlining those chords up here. But what I also like to do is outline what the piano is doing. So let me show you that lead part. We're going to be in our 8th position, and we're going to play our 4th finger, which is on the 11th fret of the 2nd string, down to the 9th fret. And we're going to move down to the 3rd string on the 8th fret, up to the 10th fret. So basically do that. Do it again. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to a G sharp major chord, which is our 5 chord when it hits that at the end of the progression. So there it is. It looks like a D chord, but we're up here building it all the way up on this fret. So again, if we're going to play that together in tempo, to the 5, and then if you wanted to end back on the 1 at the end of the chorus, you can go back to your 1 chord here. Alright, so let's move on to the bridge. Alright, moving to our bridge, our progression changes a little bit. We're going to be on our 1 chord, to to our 5, to the minor 6, to the 4. Okay? Now if you're playing rhythm, you can basically just hang on that chunk of chords again. And it carries all the way out through all those chords. Now if you want to play more of a lead part, up higher up on the fretboard, what we're going to do is we're going to start with our 1 chord right here. So it looks like an F chord, but we're all the way up building it on the 11th fret. Then when we go to our 5 chord, we're going to play the same shape that we did for the chorus. Now for the 6th chord, we're actually going to play the same pattern or the same shape that we do for our 1 chord. And then for the 4 chord, we'll do the exact same shape that we did for our chorus, which is up here. Then we're going to drop it down on the 1st string to the 11th fret of the 1st string. So I'm basically doing a half bar there with my 1st finger. So I'll play that in tempo, it'll sound like this. Then I'm going to go to my 5. Back to the 1. To my 4. Then I'm going to drop it down. Back to my 1. And then when we leave that bridge, we're going to go back into our normal chorus in the middle of the storm lyric. And then we're going to transition to basically a large version of the verse. So let's check that out. Alright, so our last big verse is going to sound like this. We're going to be playing our 1 chord up here, which again is that F shape, up building up from the 11th fret. Then we're going to go to a 4 chord, and all we're going to do is we're going to add our 4th finger, basically to create kind of like a suspension on that 1 chord shape. When we go to the 6th chord, we're basically going to drop it down back to that 1 shape. Let's fish over that chord. For the 5 chord, we're going to create this shape. So we're basically just going to add our pinky, our 4th finger, up on the 11th fret of the 1st string. So we play it together. To the 4. To the 6. To the 5. Back to our 1 chord. And that's all the parts you need to know for I Raise a Hallelujah. I hope this video was helpful for you guys, and please remember, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and check in for next time.